Have you ever stood at a crossroads in life? A moment where two paths stretch before you, each promising a different journey, a different self. Imagine standing in the bustling heart of the ancient world. The air is thick with the scent of spices and the sound of chariot wheels on stone. Here, two powerful ideas were born. Two philosophies that offered a map to navigate the chaos of human existence. They both promised a good life, a life of virtue and peace. Yet, they proposed radically different ways to find it. One path led to a fortress of inner strength, built with duty and discipline. The other led to a life of radical freedom, stripped bare of all convention. This is the story of that ancient fork in the road. These two great schools of thought were Roman Stoicism and Greek Cynicism. They were not just abstract theories discussed in dusty academies. They were living, breathing ways of life. They were guides for emperors and for beggars. They answered the timeless questions we still ask ourselves today. How do we find happiness? How should we deal with pain and loss? What does it mean to live a truly good life? The answers they gave were bold, dramatic, and have echoed through the centuries. They challenge us even now, from across the vast expanse of time, forcing us to look at our own lives and the choices we make every single day. One philosophy taught that we must embrace our role in the grand cosmic order. It asked us to be a steady rock in the turbulent sea of fate, to do our duty, to serve others, and to find tranquility by accepting what we cannot change. This was the way of the Stoic. It was a philosophy that built empires and guided leaders through unimaginable pressure. It was a quiet strength, an internal discipline that could withstand any storm the world threw at it. The Stoic found freedom not by breaking the rules, but by mastering the self within the rules of nature and society. The other philosophy shouted a different message. It declared that society's rules were chains. It said that true freedom was found by casting off possessions, reputation, and all the things we are told we should want. This was the way of the Cynic. It was a life of shocking simplicity and brutal honesty. The Cynic was a provocateur, a truth-teller, who lived like a dog in the streets to expose the madness of civilization. They sought virtue by living in perfect harmony with nature, rejecting the artificial desires that they believed made people miserable. Their path was not one of quiet strength, but of loud, unapologetic rebellion. Roman Stoicism began not in Rome, but in the marketplaces of Athens with a man named Zeno. After losing everything in a shipwreck, he discovered philosophy. He taught that virtue, or excellence of character, is the only true good. This idea traveled to Rome and found fertile ground. It became the unofficial philosophy of the Roman elite. Men like Seneca, the emperor's advisor, Epictetus, a former slave who became a revered teacher, and Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, who wrote his private thoughts in a journal we now call Meditations. They all walked the Stoic path, seeking to build an unshakable fortress within their own minds. The core idea of Stoicism is simple and profound. We do not control the world around us. We don't control other people, our health, or our reputation. We only control one thing: our own mind, our judgments, our choices, our responses. The Stoic focuses all their energy on this inner world. They practice separating what they can control from what they cannot. By doing this, they achieve a state of tranquility, or apatheia. This isn't a lack of feeling. It is a state of being undisturbed by the chaos of the external world, a calm strength that comes from knowing what truly matters. How does a Stoic live? They wake up each morning, like Marcus Aurelius did, and prepare for the day. They remind themselves they will meet with difficult people, face unexpected challenges, and experience things beyond their control. They see their role in society as a duty. They are a father, a soldier, a citizen. They strive to perform these roles with virtue and excellence, not for praise, but because it is the right thing to do. They see themselves as a part of a larger whole, a single thread in the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Their personal struggles seem smaller when viewed from this cosmic perspective. The Stoic practices negative visualization. They imagine losing the things they hold dear. Not to be morbid, but to appreciate them more while they have them, and to be prepared if fate should take them away. They see every obstacle not as a roadblock, but as an opportunity, a chance to practice patience, courage, or wisdom. The obstacle becomes the way. For the Stoic, life is not about seeking pleasure or avoiding pain. It is about living a life of reason, virtue, and duty, finding a deep and lasting peace that no emperor, no disaster, and not even death itself can ever take away. The story of Cynicism begins with a man named Diogenes. He was a figure of legend in ancient Greece. He was once a wealthy man, but he came to believe that civilization was a trap, so he gave up everything. He chose to live in a large ceramic jar in the middle of Athens. He owned nothing but a cloak, a staff, and a cup, which he later threw away after seeing a child drink water with his hands. Diogenes was the ultimate rebel. He was called the Dog, and he embraced the name, arguing that he lived an honest life like a dog, while others hid behind masks of convention. Cynicism is a philosophy of radical freedom. The Cynics believed that the goal of life was to live in virtue, and that virtue was found by living in agreement with nature. To them, nature meant our basic animal self, free from the desires created by society. They saw things like wealth, power, fame, and even good manners as worthless illusions. These things, they argued, did not make a person happy. In fact, they caused endless anxiety and suffering. The only way to be truly free and happy was to want nothing, to need nothing that could be taken from you. A cynic's life was a form of public performance. It was a living protest against the values of the world. Diogenes would walk through the marketplace in broad daylight holding a lit lamp. When people asked what he was doing, he would reply, "I am just looking for an honest man." He was intentionally shocking people to make them question their own lives. He believed that most people were sleepwalking, chasing things that didn't matter. His bizarre behavior was like a splash of cold water, designed to wake them up and force them to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. This was not an easy path. It meant living with poverty, enduring insults, and being an outcast. But for the Cynic, this was the price of freedom. By having nothing, they could not be controlled. By caring nothing for reputation, they could not be shamed. Diogenes famously met Alexander the Great, the most powerful man in the world. Alexander, impressed by the philosopher, offered to grant him any wish. Diogenes, who was sunbathing at the time, simply replied, "Stand out of my light." This was the ultimate Cynic statement: the simplest gift of nature is worth more than anything a king can offer. Both the Stoic and the Cynic wanted the same thing, a virtuous and happy life, free from the turmoil of emotion and desire. They both agreed that virtue was the only true good. But, their methods for achieving this goal could not have been more different. It was a fundamental disagreement about our place in the world. The Stoic believed in working within the system. The Cynic believed in tearing the system down, at least for themselves. The Stoic was a reformer. The Cynic was a revolutionary. One sought to master the self within society, the other to free the self from society. Consider their approach to duty and community. The Stoic, like Marcus Aurelius, saw himself as a citizen of the world. He had duties to his family, his city, and to all of humankind. He believed we were social creatures by nature, meant to work together like the hands and feet of a single body. His virtue was expressed through service and responsibility. The Cynic, like Diogenes, rejected this completely. He declared himself a citizen of the cosmos, which was another way of saying he was a citizen of nowhere. He believed social conventions and duties were traps that prevented a person from living a natural, virtuous life. Their lifestyles were a dramatic contrast. The Stoic could be a wealthy senator or a powerful emperor. Their philosophy did not require them to give up their possessions only to be indifferent to them. They could live in a palace but be mentally prepared to lose it all tomorrow. This made Stoicism practical and accessible to people in all walks of life. The Cynic's path was far more extreme. It demanded a complete rejection of material comfort and social standing. You could not be a cynic and a senator. You had to choose. Their life was a stark and public testament to their beliefs, a form of protest that the Stoic would never engage in. Ultimately, the clash is between engagement and withdrawal. The Stoic engages with the world, its challenges, and its responsibilities. They see the game of life and try to play their part with honor and skill, without being attached to the outcome. They find peace by being a good soldier in the army of fate. The Cynic refuses to play the game at all. They see the board, the pieces, and the rules, and they declare the whole thing to be a foolish waste of time. They find peace by walking away from the game entirely, choosing instead to sit in the sun, free from all its pointless struggles. So we stand here at this ancient crossroads. On one side, we have the Stoic's fortress, a path of discipline, duty, and inner resilience. It asks us to be strong, to serve others, and to find peace by mastering our minds in a world we cannot control. It is the path of the emperor, the slave, the parent, the soldier. It teaches us to turn every obstacle into an opportunity and to accept our fate with a calm and rational mind. It is a philosophy that builds civilizations and holds them together through the darkest of times. It is a quiet, powerful, and enduring strength. On the other side, we have the Cynic's freedom, a path of radical simplicity, brutal honesty, and a complete rejection of society's demands. It asks us to cast off the chains of desire, to live with nothing, and to find happiness by wanting nothing. It is the path of the rebel, the artist, the truth-teller. It dares us to question everything we are told is important, and to have the courage to live a life that is authentically our own, no matter how strange it may look to others. It is a loud, disruptive, and liberating challenge to the status quo. Which path speaks to you? The choice is not as simple as it seems. Perhaps we need a little of both. Perhaps we need the Stoic's discipline to get through our workday, to be a reliable friend and family member. But perhaps we also need a dose of the Cynic spirit to question whether the goals we are chasing are truly worth the effort. To remind us to step out of the race from time to time and simply enjoy the warmth of the sun on our face. These ancient ideas are not just history. They are living questions about how we should spend our short time here on this earth. The universe is full of mysteries, but the greatest mystery of all might be ourselves. These philosophies are maps, drawn by those who walk before us. They do not give us the answers, but they help us ask the right questions. So I leave you with this thought. Which path will you explore? The one of duty or the one of freedom? The fortress or the open road? The choice, as always, is yours. Think about it, and tell us what you think in the comments below. If this journey through time has sparked something in you, consider sharing it so that others may also find their way.